7:15. Still to come on the programme today. Would you be tempted to serve a ready meal to your toddler, or will you make it from scratch? We talk to the stay-at-home dad who reckons you can avoid the ping of the microwave with a little ingenuity. There's been a lot of talk recently about providing healthy school meals and making children do more sport. Did you know 1 child in 5 is already overweight by the time they start primary school?
Tonight's Panorama has trying to find out why presenter Shelley Joffrey has been looking at what's in children's food and the rapidly growing market of ready meals which are aimed at toddlers. We're discussing that in a moment. First, let's take a look at tonight's programme.
There's a growing market in ready meals like these aimed specifically at toddlers. And I have to say, as a working mum, they're quite appealing. They sell themselves as very nutritious and wholesome. But unlike these sort of ready meals aimed at older children, where you can see quite clearly on the front if they're high or low in salt and sugar, there's nothing on the front here to tell me whether they're particularly healthy for my children.
There's no law requiring the food industry to carry this sort of labelling, but many companies do it voluntarily for food aimed at adults and children over 5. Shefali Loth is an expert in childhood nutrition.
As an adult, we can go into a supermarket and buy a ready meal and know how much of our daily guideline amount that meal is going to meet. Whereas if they were going to buy one of these targeted meals, you just wouldn't know.
Annabelle Carmel has made her name encouraging parents to cook healthy homemade meals for their children. She's sold more than 3 million recipe books and now has her own best-selling range of ready meals for toddlers. They promise no added colours, flavourings or preservatives. But her toddler's lasagna does contain sugar, quite a lot in fact, more than twice as much as an ordinary supermarket lasagna.
Well, children prefer sweeter food to adults, so that's probably why it's slightly sweeter than an adult's lasagna. But we have actually made the decision to take all of the sugar out of our meals because we found a way to take the acidity out of the tomatoes by adding fruit juice. So that is something we've already been working on.
So you think it has been too sweet?
I think we're constantly re-evaluating our meals and we're constantly listening to people and finding other ways to add sweetness, and we have found a way to do it. But I didn't want to compromise on the taste to begin with. For me, it's really important that a healthy meal also has to taste good.
That's Annabelle Carmel in this week's Panorama. Joining us this morning, nutritionist Nicole Berberian and Nick Coffer. He's a stay-at-home dad and the man behind the blog MyDaddyCooks.com. Good morning to you both. Now, first of all, Nicole, I was unaware that there was this market for ready meals for toddlers, but it's growing very quickly, isn't it?
It is growing very quickly. I mean, it's anything to capture whatever market we can, and convenience food is really what they're pushing for. But obviously what we're saying is we do want people to cook at home, because then you can control what's in the food. You have an awareness of the quality of the food, and also the key thing for these under 5s is that's where tastes are being established. We want to nurture preferences, we want to nurture the habits which will then see them through to the rest of their life. And it's this age group that we found lows in iron, in zinc, in A, in vitamin C, and also highs in salt and sugar, which is why we're sort of picking up on this and saying, we want to make sure that these meals are good. And obviously there is a convenience aspect. Occasionally these foods are fine, but we really want to reinforce the message that cooking at home is simple, it can happen quickly. There are ways of doing it, which we're going to certainly discuss with Nick. There really is quick ways of doing it, so it's definitely the way to do it.
And Nick, you do say that you can cook a meal as quickly as hearing that microwave go ping after the 3 minutes once the ready meal's gone in.
I would say that not only as quickly, but as tasty and probably significantly cheaper as well.
What sort of stuff do you cook for you've got a little boy called Archie, haven't you?
I've got Archie. Archie's just over 2. We
Right.
cook together in the kitchen. On the blog you'll see videos of us cooking meals together. We eat pretty well everything. We eat a very balanced diet. He loves being engaged in the whole cooking process. And I think that's also part of what Nicole's saying about engaging kids with food, to basically give them a really nice relationship around food.
So what might you cook?
Well, we brought you in some vegetable muffins that we made last night. Made vegetarian,
muffins?
especially for you. They're
Thank
broccoli, tomato
so
and
it's got
cheese.
a bit of broccoli. Let's sneak a bit of broccoli in there.
Yes, but in fairness, Sean, we don't hide vegetable. We don't mask flavours. We don't sweeten.
So they
food.
know that it's a muffin and it's got broccoli in it.
Well, the very first thing that Archie ever ate was a broccoli floret.
Yes, actually.
How long do these take to make?
They take about 3 minutes to mix and 20 minutes in the oven.
Okay.
On the blog, there's a video where there's an uncut video of us cooking an omelette. And from the moment I open the fridge to the moment there's a cheese and tomato omelette on the plate, it's 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
And it's called, children's taste buds are formed sort of early, aren't they, in a sense?
Well, whether it's adults or whether it's children, the more salt and sugar you have, the more your taste buds desensitise. So you almost need more salt and sugar to get that same flavour. So on the converse, if we reduce the salt and sugar, you start to taste foods for what they really are again. I mean, what's really exciting about sort of the cooking from home, again, is that you can add the ingredients in it that we're trying to increase. You know, here we've got the vegetables, broccoli added to a muffin. You know, it's when you start cooking that you get an awareness of, first of all, how quick it really is. When you start buying convenience, you lose that connection with food and you lose the idea of, actually, it really didn't take that long, it really wasn't that hard, and it actually didn't take much planning. So, I mean, this is just
true,
a perfect
but I
example.
have to say, every now and again, I am very aware of I know you weren't, but I'm very aware of ready meals for toddlers, and, you know, they can be I know you can make things quickly, and you really should, but sometimes, every now and again, it's not going to do your child any harm at all.
I think no one's coming from an extreme view here that says you can never have fish fingers. But just to pick up on a point there about cooking, a key point is it's a lot of fun, and the moments that Archie and I spend in the kitchen are absolutely privileged moments of quality time together, and you see that in the videos.
It's having the time with your child, though, isn't it?
It's quality time with your child, which is great. I want to pick up something about the convenience food because you did mention that there are times that we do want to have them. And it's at that point that it's critical to look at the labels, because we've seen there's a huge variety in what actually goes into them. You never can tell completely what's in them from reading the label, but you'll get a guide. So you've got 2 different lasagnas, for example. Look at them side by side. Look at the children's one, look at the adult one, and compare them per 100 grams and see, which one does have more sugar, which one does have more salt.
Are there not rules and regulations governing children's ready meals? So you shouldn't really have lots of sugar and salt in a children's
Well, you shouldn't really have them. And again, the Food Standard Agency has got a fantastic website with all the information on what's high and what's low on a label. So that's certainly where I'd recommend people go to look at those details.
Also, Nick, though, if I go into the store, pick up a lasagna off the shelf, bring it back and put it in the microwave, it's bound to take a lot less time than if you make it at home, because you've got to prepare all the ingredients.
Well, in fairness, if you're comparing a microwavable lasagna and a homemade lasagna, yes, it will be quicker. But in terms of cooking with greater variety and greater flavour and greater taste and greater fun, then for me, home always wins.
I'm going to keep these actually as well. So
I've already had
I know
of mine.
you've had, yes. I
You
know a
can have the
certain
rest,
little
take the
boy.
rest
Yeah,
home.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
They're very nice, though, too.
So never disguise vegetables.
Well, from when Archie was 6 months old, he sat at the table with us. He ate what we eat.
Yep.
And basically, yeah, we don't need to disguise because he's engaged with what we're eating.
That's an important thing, isn't it? Make sure your children eat what you eat,
Yeah.
and don't offer alternatives. It's that or it's
and there's
nothing.
some key science behind constantly presenting the food to them. If your child doesn't eat a certain food, keep on trying, because repeated exposure to a food has been shown to increase their uptake over time.
And don't label them as fussy. They're just normal. There are some things I don't like, but I don't have a label saying I'm fussy. I'm just choosy.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Here's you got a whole plate of them.
Good.
Take home with
I've
you.
got 4
Okay,
children.
I'm going to finish that one.
You finish that.
Finish that one.